A gentlelady from Maine, Ms. Pingree, is recognized for an amendment.
Mr. Chair, I have an amendment at the desk, and I move to dispense with the reading.
Without objection, the reading of the amendment is dispensed with, and the gentlelady is recognized for remarks on her amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this amendment addresses the issues related to PFAS chemicals, sometimes known as forever chemicals. These are chemicals in our environment that don't easily break down. They've been linked to health problems, cancer, kidney problems, high cholesterol, and their contamination is widespread. These are chemicals that were widely used, have continued to be used, and we find them in our drinking water, in our land, in a variety of places. Now, I'm particularly interested in this amendment in the contaminants that are in our land. And in Maine, we have seen a real prevalence of these PFAS chemicals in farmland and in other land, primarily because they were in sewage sludge that was spread as fertilizer on the farms, particularly in the 70s and 80s, although in many states still spread today. So unfortunately, when that sewage drug contains PFAS, it leads to the contamination of agricultural land, products grown on that land, and the water surrounding it. Our state is one of the leaders in testing for this. So if it isn't present in your state, it will be known soon because most states will eventually start testing for this. And in many states, it was common practice to use the fertility and sewage sludge on farmland, and that's how it ended up there. But now we have these heartbreaking stories of farms that have been impacted. And let me just tell you about one. Songbird Farm in Unity, Maine had to close in 2022 after they found high level of PFAS contamination in the soil. It was a wonderful farm that the family had built up over the years, growing vegetables and grain. But when they were tested, not only did they find out this was present in their soil that they had worked on for years, but the blood tests for Adam and Johanna and their 5-year-old child confirmed that they also had extremely high levels of these chemicals. They're now undergoing treatment to reduce the high levels in their own blood. And Adam has been working to raise awareness about PFAS so that other people can understand that we don't want it in our land and that it's hard to remove, and continue to work for ways to research how to remediate our soil when it has been contaminated. The EPA has been working on a draft risk assessment for PFAS in sewage sludge. This is all logical. There's general agreement that PFAS is a contaminant, and we don't want it in our sludge, and we certainly don't want it contaminating our soil. But the puzzling thing is that now the EPA has decided to stop their risk assessment of this contaminant in sewage sludge. Administrator Zeldin and I have discussed this. When he was one of our colleagues here in Congress, he supported the idea of removing PFAS from our land. It's an issue in upstate New York, so as a legislator, he represented those concerns just the same as I do and many other legislators have as well. So it's puzzling to me why this agency would now stop work on understanding why we have PFAS in the soil or what are reasonable levels that should be allowed in sewage sludge. So this risk assessment, as I said, is being blocked. We all know that it is better to prevent the contamination than try to clean it up afterwards. We don't really necessarily have good ideas or enough research to understand how to remove PFAS once it's present in our soil. And in my state, because there hasn't been sufficient funding allocated by the federal government, we already have a buyout fund that was supported by the state, and we have now purchased back our first farm. But that's a tragedy. We don't want to spend state or federal dollars buying back farms because people have lost their livelihood, perhaps lost their health, and lost their ability to sell vegetables or grain or whatever it is they're selling to their friends and neighbors or to run their dairy operation. So I'm sure if you spend a day listening to any of the farmers or family members who have been hit by one of these farms or lost one of their farms because of the spreading of sewage sludge, you too would wonder, why is the EPA discontinuing the research? Why are they stopping this risk assessment? So this amendment does a simple thing. It basically takes the rider out that says they're going to block the risk assessment and puts this back on track. So I urge you to support this. I know if you haven't heard about this in your home state, you will hear about it soon. This is not, again, a partisan concern. This is something we would all worry about, and it's heartbreaking to see a farmer or a farm family lose their farm because of the contamination of these chemicals. So I urge passage of this, and I yield back the balance of my time.
I thank gentlelady. The gentleman from Idaho, Mr. Simpson, is recognized to address the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree with much of what Ms. Pingree said. However, I rise in opposition to this amendment. First, this draft risk assessment was finalized literally at the last minute. It was published in January 15th, 2025, 5 days before Inauguration Day. Unfortunately, the previous administration rushed many rulemakings out the door at the last minute. This leads to concerns about serious flaws with the assessment. For example, the assessment does not include a risk management analysis, which is unprecedented, and fails to include recent research or practical real-life models of farms. This funding prohibition targets a very specific and flawed assessment related to PFAS. It does not upend the agency's work to protect the environmental and human health. In fact, Administrator Zeldin has announced several major actions the EPA is taking on PFAS as it continues to be a priority with this administration. Our Republican en bloc amendment adopted earlier modifies this section to allow EPA to finalize this risk assessment as they find appropriate, so we ensure that this work can continue. So while I agree with much of what Ranking Member Pingree said, the reality is that this amendment is unnecessary and I think would harm us finalizing the rules. So I oppose the amendment and would urge my colleagues to oppose it.
Thank the gentleman. Gentlelady from Pennsylvania, Ms. Dean, is recognized to address the amendment.
And I thank the chairman and the ranking members. I rise in opposition to this amendment. I rise in support of this amendment, which would strike Section 507, which is, for those of you looking for it, it's almost the last page of the bill. This rider prohibiting EPA from working on the draft sewage sludge risk assessment, prohibit any kind of funding for that report, which that report showed the risks. As Ranking Member Pingree has said, PFAS contamination has likely already hit, impacted, and affected all of our districts. In my district, back in suburban Philadelphia, was when I was in the State House, EPA testing revealed extremely high levels of PFAS in the water surrounding the former Willow Grove Naval Air Base, a base where my brother Harry in the Navy worked on airplanes. It is believed, and it is known actually, that this is contamination due to the past use of firefighting foam, AFFF. Ever since, I've been fighting for resources so that we can both remedy the contamination and better understand the many adverse health impacts connected to PFAS. We were even able to get $1 million health study for our area for the many neighbors and folks who had worked on the base to test their contamination levels, and sadly, the numbers came in very high. And I will say to you, just as recently as this week, I was talking with one of my district people who's been on this with me for the past 12 years, and the PFAS levels remain stubbornly high at different times from the water rolling off that blacktop at the now defunct base. The other thing I want to impress upon everybody is the chemical companies who produced the firefighting foam, the PFAS, PFOA containing foam. They've known for decades. We just celebrated somebody's entrance into a 60th year. They've known for 6 decades the dangers. Happy birthday. That was awkward, but yeah. They've known for decades. I'm right there with you and a little ahead of you. That the firefighting foam, the use of these forever chemicals that do not break down in the environment and do wind up in our blood have such high risk to bad health outcomes. We have to address this. We know how to filter for it. Finally, EPA set a maximum contamination level. And this past year, we acted decisively to address it. It's taken years, and yes, it comes at an expense. But think of the longer-term cost to our communities due to the health-associated risks. We cannot afford this delay any longer. I urge my colleagues to support the amendment and restore the funding around PFAS studies. Thank you. I yield back.
Thanks, gentlelady. And I would ask the gentleman from Alabama to quit rubbing in the fact that he's 60. You're losing a lot of friends up here at the dais. Are there other members wishing to address the amendment? Seeing none, the gentlelady is recognized for 1 minute to close.
Again, I encourage my colleagues to support this for the sake of the farmers and those who are concerned about the contamination from PFAS. I want to clarify the way I was describing this. I am trying to remove a rider. The rider prohibits the EPA from continuing the risk assessment. So our goal is to make sure that the EPA continues this important risk assessment. My goal is to remove the rider that would stop them from continuing. So I urge my colleagues to support this brilliantly written and very thoughtful amendment. And
I thank the gentlelady. The question is now on the amendment offered by the gentlelady from Maine. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. No. In opinion of the chair, the noes have it. Roll call has been requested. Sufficient number of hands have been raised. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Adderholt. Mr. Adderholt, no. Mr. Aguilar. Mr. Aguilar, aye. Mr. Alford. Mr. Alford, no. Mr. Amadei. Mrs. Bice. Mrs. Bice, no. Mr. Bishop. Mr. Bishop, aye. Mr. Calvert. Mr. Calvert, no. Mr. Carter. Mr. Case. Mr. Case, aye. Mr. Siscomani. Mr. Klein. Mr. Klein, no. Mr. Cloud. Mr. Cloud, no. Mr. Clyburn. Mr. Clyburn, aye. Mr. Clyde. Mr. Clyde, no. Mr. Cole.
No.
Mr. Cole, no. Mr. Cuellar. Mr. Cuellar, aye. Miss Dean. Miss Dean, aye. Miss DeLauro. Ms. DeLauro, aye. Mr. Diaz-Balart. Mr. Edwards. Mr. Edwards, no. Mr. Elzey. Ms. Escobar. Ms. Escobar, aye. Mr. Espaillat. Mr. Espaillat, aye. Mr. Fleischman. Mr. Fleischman, no. Ms. Frankel. Ms. Frankel, aye. Mr. Franklin. Mr. Franklin, no. Mr. Gonzalez. Mr. Gonzalez, no. Mr. Guest. Mr. Guest, no. Mr. Harder. Mr. Harder, aye. Dr. Harris. Dr. Harris, no. Mrs. Hinson. Mrs. Hinson, no. Mr. Hoyer. Mr. Hoyer, aye. Mr. Ivy. Mr. Ivy, aye. Mr. Joyce. Mr. Joyce, no. Ms. Capter. Ms. Capter, aye. Mr. Lalota. Miss Lee. Miss Lee, aye. Miss Letlow. Miss Letlow, no. Mr. Levin. Mr. Levin, aye. Miss Malloy. Miss McCollum. Miss McCollum, aye. Miss Ming. Miss Ming, aye. Mr. Molinar. Mr. Molinar, no. Mr. Moore. Mr. Moore. Mr. Morelli. Mr. Morelli, aye. Mr. Mervan. Mr. Mervan, aye. Mr. Newhouse. Mr. Newhouse, no. Ms. Perez. Ms. Perez, aye. Ms. Pingree. Ms. Pingree, aye. Mr. Pocan. Mr. Pocan, aye. Mr. Quigley. Mr. Quigley, aye. Mr. Reschenthaler. Mr. Reschenthaler, no. Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers, no. Mr. Rutherford. Mr. Rutherford, no. Mr. Simpson. Mr. Simpson, no. Mr. Strong. Mr. Strong, no. Mrs. Torres. Mrs. Torres, aye. Miss Underwood. Miss Underwood, aye. Mr. Valadeo. Miss Wasserman Schultz. Miss Wasserman Schultz, aye. Mrs. Watson Coleman. Mrs. Watson Coleman, aye. Mr. Womack. Mr. Womack, no. Mr. Zinke. Mr. Zinke, no.
Are there any members wishing to record or change their vote? Gentleman from West Virginia.
Mr. Moore, no.
Gentleman from Florida.
Mr. Diaz-Balart, no.
Gentleman from Texas.
Mr. Carter, no.
The other gentleman from Texas.
Mr. Elzey, no.
We have other members wishing to change or record their vote. Seeing none, clerk will tally. How's the gentleman from California recorded?
He's not recorded. Mr. Valadeo, no.
Thank you. On this vote, the ayes are 28, the noes are 31, and the amendment is not adopted.